I think it made it really simple for them because, it's a matter of opening your phone, going through your checklist, inputting your information, or even if it's just checking it that you did it. It's made it really simple for them so that while they're in the middle of taking orders or whatever, oh, I've got to go check, my temperatures or the sanitizer, whatever it is. It's not something where they have to come back to the back office, find the paperwork, grab a pen, go back out there, whatever. And so it's really made it's really nice that it's accessible. Just it's very simple to use. With FoodDocs, even sitting down now in the afternoon and just kind of going back through the day, making sure that the morning checklist, whatever checklist we have created, that they get done. I mean, it takes me, I don't know, 5-10 minutes maybe. Whereas before, I had to run around with my papers and try to figure out, which sheet went to what section and that kind of thing. So that probably took me more, I would say 2 hours to go back through, twice a day, get the papers, go around checking it off and that kind of thing. And now I can sit down and it's just all there in one place.
Yeah.
And it might take me 10 minutes. It can fit for lots of different types of businesses. And all you have to do is, just skimming it down to what you need, which that's not a bad thing. At least that that's a possibility. And hey, do I really have to add that in here? Yes or no? So, I mean, it's really nice because even though I came from a food background and already having some classes and trainings and tests and things that I had done, I had no idea on how to compose or put together a HACCP plan or a hazard or any of those things. I mean, I was like, so, I mean, FoodDocs for me has been a lifesaver because it took the little bit of knowledge that I had in just the hands-on type of the business and plugged in all of the, I guess, it's just, I guess, all the formal stuff that I didn't have. I didn't know how to put it together. I didn't know how to, do, you write down what ingredients and the cooking process, and then you have to do, who's going to do it and when, the frequency and all these things. And I had no idea about it. I have read them before, but I've never put it together myself. So for me, it was a lifesaver because I don't have anyone here who could do that for me. It's just going to be me. So, definitely, like I said, too much information is not a bad thing because for someone who's coming in like me, I don't really know what that is unless, I'm actually looking at it and trying to get it down to just the basics for us. So it's good that it was there because I could pick and choose, what did I need or not. The USDA has been the only other one that has actually physically come into the location. They've looked over the HACCP, they looked over the hazard. They really broke it down into detail. I had 2 different inspectors come in actually. And the first one, he's like, I really like this setup. I like it that it's broken down this way. It's really simple to read. It, takes you down the line. So he really liked the format, the setup of it. FoodDocs has really been good that it has it doesn't separate one side of the business from the other. It doesn't separate the production side where we're just packaging and boxing it and then shipping that to the facility so that they can get it out to whatever household orders it, versus, I can still make those chicken tenders. I'm going to keep some in-house here. And if you come to my establishment, I can make you a hot chicken tender basket. So it's actually been great because it works for both in the entirety. When we start selling in the grocery stores, it's still going to work for that because it's the same processes that we have to go through with FoodDocs to make sure that we're being, that we're compliant with everything. It will work on either of your parts, whether it's ready to eat sell or, frozen for it to get delivered to your home, or shipped over to the local grocery store to get sold there. It actually helps to keep it all together where you can easily use it for whatever different little sections of the business that we may have. So it's really nice that I don't have to, just kind of do one thing single for FoodDocs because I can't use it for the other. So it works great for all of it. So in order to be able to state, for example, like on our labels, you know, because we are approved to the FDA, we are in the middle of trying to get our approval with the USDA, which is why FoodDocs was really so important for us, because that was something that, you know, the HACCP and those things, I had never created anything like that myself. Yeah, I had some knowledge of,
Never.
you know, that kind of thing, but I've never, it's always been something that was just given to me by somebody else. You know, like on the monitoring task, for example, you know, you can create those to cater for what your business is, which is really nice because,
Yeah.
you know, my monitoring tasks may not be the same for someone else's because I have to make sure that what you bring in here is not gluten-free. So when we check in our vendors, you know, we're checking are all the items gluten-free. Sometimes we get a mispull and it'll be something that isn't. So I think that that's really nice where, you know, that even though it's for kitchens or, you know, processing plants or whatever, in general, you can cater it to what you need to fit for your business. So that's really
Mm-hmm.
been nice as far as us being gluten-free and being able to use that, you know, to our advantage that way. So as we started to grow, when I got here, we started to grow on as an online business. We were mostly just a local store. And
Okay.
so growing online business, you know, you're doing not, you know, 50 pounds of shrimp. Now you're doing 400 to 700 pounds of shrimp. So
Yeah.
then you start getting into the needs of, you know, regulating time and temperature, you know, watching, are you cooling it properly? You know, are we frying it to the right temperature? You know, those kinds of things. Are we holding our hot foods at the right temp?
Mm.
Is everybody, you know, cleaning as they're supposed to, washing your hands properly, all those little things that, you know, in a whole, can, if they're not followed properly, could cause a really big issue. When you're dealing with 700 pounds of shrimp, for example, I mean, if you're not cooling it properly or freezing it or whatever, you can get a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people sick. So it was a real challenge at first because we didn't have any kind of system in place other than I had all these charts that I had printed out on the computer myself and was like, hey, these are the rules, you know, we've got to do these things. So it was a
Mm-hmm.
little hard keeping up with the paper aspect of it because
At scale. Yeah.
there's, even though we're a small team, there's a lot of hands. And if somebody's not on the same page, again, it can cause a lot of issues. So we
Yeah.
started to look for a system that we could sort of, you know, combine all of that into one where we could monitor it, not only just myself, but then the team could get their hands in and everybody could plug in, hey, I checked the temperatures, you know, I wrote down the freezer times, whatever. And so it's really made it a nice centralized, structured, you know, thing for us that we can actually keep up. And like I said, everybody just pitches in. And now I think that they're more hands-on with that. It really helped them to
Mm.
get involved and see that this is something that's important. You know, somebody's going to be watching,
Mm.
somebody's going to be tracking. We need to be on point with the things that we do because, you know, as what we deliver to your house, you want to make sure that it's a good quality product that's not going to get you sick. So being here and using this system, I'm thinking, why do you not have FoodDocs? Like this is crazy. It could
Yeah.
all be online so that, you know, it could be shared because, you know, they have EcoSure that they deal with. They deal with the health department,
Yeah.
area leaders, and it's just a huge chain. And so I'm just like, why don't you have, why are you back in the times of paper, I guess? And so that's
Right.
really crazy. But I think, you know, I think it's wild that it's not
Yeah.
something that more people aren't onto, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah. With
because
with,
it
with
makes life simpler.
for sure. And that's the
Yeah.
goal.
I would definitely suggest that it be something that they strongly consider. Um, and I guess for me personally, because I've worked in a small setting like this one where it's like 5 to 6 employees, and I've worked in a large setting where I've had up to 30 employees.
Mm.
You know, it could go either way. And I would simply tell them that whether you're a small establishment or a large establishment, if you have few people, there's not enough hands to go around sometimes. And
Mm-hmm.
this and FoodDocs has made it so much easier for us that we keep it all together. It's easy to use, you know, it's nice and it's nice that you can make it yours. You can put it to your business and whatever you may need, right? In a
Mm,
large setting, it's the same thing. You have a lot of hands to keep up with. And
yeah.
so it's nice to be able to hold the accountability for them and go back through your monitoring tasks, because you're verifying, right, what did or didn't get done. And so it puts the employee's name in there, who did what tasks. And so it's really nice and easy to keep up with that, because I could
Hmm.
easily sign on paper somebody else's initials and they weren't here, they didn't do the job or whatever, which, believe it or not, gets done. And so when you're using FoodDocs, it's the accountability is there. The
Yeah.
simplification of the tasks is there. Being able to come back and verify that your employees are doing what needs to be done, it's there. And it's all in one place. And so, I mean, for somebody who's managing a business, that's a great thing. Any tool that's going to help you, kind of keep everything in a schedule, keep it organized, give you some kind of a structure for your team. It you could,
Yeah.
you just can't. It's one of those easy. It's a must. I
Yeah.
do get involved, and then of course I am doing like verifying the monitoring task and thing like that. But I do get involved because I guess for me, I feel like if I'm more hands-on, then it's a little easier to catch, anything that may or may be going wrong faster than not. So I definitely do both.
Okay. Awesome. Good to
Yeah,
know.
and I have enough time to do it, so it's really great because it's a nice, easy, simple software. They weren't very feasible. They weren't something that we like. FoodDocs, we were able to pay, and it was done.
Mm,
A lot of these others, you pay and then you monthly pay or weekly pay or annually or whatever it happens to be, and so I think then it becomes just too costly. And it wasn't something that, especially for a small business like ours, that we could, keep up with and have to deal with all those extra expenses. And it was actually Chad who made the final decision. And I kind of just showed him, I was like, well, this one does it all. I mean, it literally does it all. We can even put our recipes in here and it'll keep it stored for
hmm.
us and that. So he really liked that it was a sort of, just a one source, everything all in one. It's really nice and easy to keep up with that, because I could
Hmm.
easily sign on paper somebody else's initials and they weren't here, they didn't do the job or whatever, which, believe it or not, gets done. And so when you're using FoodDocs, it's the accountability is there. The
Yeah.
simplification of the tasks is there. Being able to come back and verify that your employees are doing what needs to be done, it's there. And it's all in one place. And so, I mean, for somebody who's managing a business, that's a great thing. Any tool that's going to help you, kind of keep everything in a schedule, keep it organized, give you some kind of a structure for your team. It you could,
Yeah.
you just can't. It's one of those easy. It's a must.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. Well, I'm looking at my clock. I don't know what your clock is, but we're exactly at 4. So I think we made
We're
great.
exactly. Yeah, we're at
Um,
3. So
awesome. Awesome. But yeah, there's no other questions off the top of my head right now. So I don't want to keep you longer than I have to. I know you got a busy rest of the day. But thank you so much, Ruth. I just want to say too, it's awesome being able to chat with a customer. It's not something I do as often as I can or I should, but even chatting with you, I've learned some things as well. So I just want to say I really appreciate
yeah,
your time, and really I think for not reviewing the questions ahead of time. Yeah, that was excellent. So yeah, I appreciate
I
your
meant to, and
thoroughness.
some things happened with us trying to get, because we do Thanksgiving sides and things, and we had some last minute issues of
Mm,
over ordering and not enough product. And so we were getting on that. And so I'm sorry that I wasn't as prepared as I probably should have been. But
oh,
it's really nice. I will say with FoodDocs, um, I've really enjoyed the fact that even though you guys aren't here with me, I feel like anytime that I've needed something, it's felt that way. You guys have done a really good job of just, I don't know, kind of being there and trying to answer me and walk me through and showing me here's the clip on how to do that. And so it's really been nice to have somebody just kind of walk me through and just get me familiar with the system. So it's been really nice.